Welcome to the 68th episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
So damn paranormal.
My name is Jason Knight, host of this zoo, and with me tonight is...
Dude, she said that like, did you do your homework? Yeah, I did my homework. Yeah, fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
damn
paranormal.
There you go.
Okay. Oscar Spector's here.
And Lexi Raven.
Lexi Raven, Oscar Spector, back in the saddle again.
I hate horse riding.
Episode 68. We're continuing.
Part 2.
Episode 67.
You left us, I believe, if my memory serves, you left us hanging.
I left you hanging big. I left you out on a cliff.
Like one of those poor children.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah,
Too soon?
Yeah.
Okay.
But before we get into the episode, as always, I like to talk about, what you guys been up to the last 2 weeks? What's been going on?
I found out that certain vodka and certain orange drink. Remember last time you gave me UV something?
Oh, that's
And
right. UV Blue and Orange Crush.
Orange Fanta.
Fanta, yes.
Don't you want?
We can't afford Crush.
Procast. Yeah, I had you make it again for me today because it's really good. Really good combo.
I'm glad you like it.
Really works.
I like to make sure you guys are taken care of when you come here.
Yes, you really do. I do feel bad, but then again, I drive a little here. So.
This is true. Absolutely.
2 miles is too much.
Lexi, how about you? What you been up to?
Work. And I work tomorrow.
No, you don't.
You work on Tuesday.
You don't work tomorrow.
It's Saturday.
It is Saturday.
It is Saturday.
And you
It is
work in
Saturday.
like 40-something hours.
Excuse you, I start at 3.
It's 3 o'clock on Tuesday.
3
p.m.
o'clock on Sunday.
Dude, she works so late. Like, I mean, I work at 1 also, like at 1 p.m., but I work every day when I'm not here. I mean,
Yeah, but I need like beauty rest.
How much what is beauty rest?
She's like 19.
At what hours do you... So like an hour cap. So
Like
if you 6
8,
or under,
9.
it's ugly rest. 8 and
9
beyond.
hours. 9
8,
hours.
9 hours. Is
That's
like,
beauty.
That's full beauty rest right there.
Damn.
10 hours is a little
that's some
overkill,
fucking-
but it's like a comfortable.
That's some bear hibernation shit.
That is some Tom and Jerry.
And then like 4
bears
hours is
hibernating.
ugly rest. That's when I will cancel all plans and not go to work.
You actually call into work if you don't get enough sleep?
I want to sleep.
Wow. I wish I could do that. If I do that, I'd take my house away.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
They
not
say
that,
no more house for you.
not that dire for me, but if I do that, I can't like take you to dinner or get gas.
That's true.
Shit like that,
I should
Yeah.
really stop doing that.
Yeah, you should really do that.
You crazies.
Although she recently paid me back for something that she owed me.
Very good.
That's
Always,
true.
always pay your debts.
Yes.
Always pay your debts. Lexi, have you found out if you are with child yet?
I have not.
You still haven't found out?
No.
Well, at least you're not drinking, and I applaud that.
Thank
Good-
you.
Good for you. Good
Thank
for
you.
But something weird did happen to you while we were off air.
Yes, something really weird happened.
Could you explain that to us, please?
Okay, so we all know that AI listens to everything we say.
Or like the NSA and shit.
I would, yeah, AI, NSA, I tend to
So
agree.
I was on this awesome shopping app named Wish. Basically, it's discounted everything. Everything's on a discount. And I was just scrolling through. I
like it, the discount.
Download the app.
Are you
Wish?
doing
All right. I'll
the
check it out.
Zohan?
They have everything.
No, it's Italian. I like
Everything.
the Italians. They like the discount.
Okay.
I like a nice discount.
Yeah.
So I was just scrolling through looking at summer clothes, like usually from my suggestions, which they're usually definitely not what I saw. And I saw like 3 or 4 shirts that said best mom, mother of the year. I love being a mom.
Have you looked for clothes
All
like
things
that?
that
I
She's
have
not.
not. I have not
Are you
looked
serious?
anything up about mother.
We just talked about it.
I
That's
know.
all we did was talk.
Yeah.
And it came up on your
And it
Wish app.
came up on my app.
That's fucked up.
I would say it could be remnants of Mother's Day, but that was like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Right? So-
Yeah, but
Did you do any Mother's Day searching?
Nope.
Like on Google or anything?
no.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean,
No, the thing
Who does
is,
that?
like,
You are a shitty son.
the entire app, it goes from your recommendations from things you've already viewed.
oh.
Like, the things that you haven't viewed and like,
Well,
things
apparently
similar
not.
to that will be, like, at the very bottom of scrolling. And I was scrolling, like, it was, like, the second or third photo I saw.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that the universe telling you
God, I hope not.
you're bearing a child?
No. We're talking about AI.
Yeah, we're talking about AI right
Oscar's
now.
so scared.
What the fuck, bro?
He's so scared.
You know,
Lexi, that is creepy. So,
I had this hook.
Now, the universe would be saying...
dude,
What?
edit that
Bro.
out.
Why? I can't
Bro.
say that.
Bro.
We went too far now? All the shit we say
Cross
here.
that line.
All the shit we say.
You just said you want to kill my child.
Okay, moving
child,
on.
part
So
mine too.
we,
Not if you want to kill it. I'm not letting you anyone near it.
the Supernatural Occurrence Today's podcast does not take a side on
the
abortion.
hanger policy.
Whatever people want to do, we love it. We love you. But we did say that we were going to do an experiment, right? With
Yes.
this AI NSA always listening thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because I think we've all had the experience of thinking of something in our minds, and next thing you know, boom, it's on Facebook. right?
Creepy.
I know we've talked about this in the past on this show.
This definitely happened to me. It happens to me like every day.
It happens a lot to me as well. So what we
I don't go on
decided,
Facebook enough to know.
but what we decided to do is with our phones just out on the table, at our recording table here, we decided to come up with something and just say it, right? Agree on it and say it and see if sometime in the near future that thing we said will appear in our social feeds or in our searches or whatever it is, right? Without us actually searching it. So we decided on clown nose.
Yes.
Clown nose.
Yeah, orange clown noses. I said orange because I don't want red clown noses. I want orange.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it
noses.
simple.
So we're going to see if clown noses
Well, if
appear.
anything like that comes up, I would say that also homework for the listeners, now that you're listening to this, and obviously you're on your phone, I assume. How many people listen through the laptop? Maybe they do.
We have people who listen a lot on YouTube, listen to our episodes on YouTube.
Oh, but most people do it through their phone. Anyway, go say that to your phone now and see if it pops up for you.
The clown nose?
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting. Let us know if it does. Contact at chicagoghostpodcast.com. And we will let you guys know if something like that pops up in our feeds.
For sure.
Fucking weird, man.
Very weird.
We were talking about, I thought of a person that I haven't thought of in years, since literally 15 years, more, since high school. And then next thing you know, bam, you might know this guy right on my Facebook feed. Never in a million, I forgot he existed.
I think it's just technologically creepy. I don't think there's anything supernatural to it.
I don't think it's supernatural.
I think some sort of algorithm.
It's
thing.
gotta, or
It's some fucking creeping
Our
out.
technology is always listening, man.
It is.
It's always listening.
Alexa
That's what I've been
is not
saying
sleeping.
forever.
Alexa, don't sleep.
Alexa, don't sleep.
Yeah.
Well, no, she's AI. Have you guys ever seen the video of
She-
this man talking
she's
to
not AI.
Alexa, asking about the CIA, and every time
She shuts down. or
she
whatever.
shuts down.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he'll
I
ask
remember
other
that.
questions like, "Can I trust you? Do you know what the CIA is? Are you part of the CIA?" And then she shuts down. Like she'll answer every other question, but
Okay,
that-
remind me of this
Whoa.
next time where cause my brother has a bunch of that goes and shit.
Yeah, I have two.
We'll ask.
yeah.
Okay. Because I don't have any of that. The only thing I have is my phone, is my laptop. That's it. And my laptop's pretty old. I don't think it can capture much.
But
my
it's a
laptop,
Mac, so it's advanced.
No, I'm just saying it's from 2009. It kind of doesn't have much of the features anymore. But let's say if it does, fine, sure. But I'm saying my phone and that's all I have. So, I mean, it's possible, but I don't go on Facebook. I don't notice it because I don't go on these things.
Yeah, well, it's probably better.
I go on
Facebook
Amazon.
is depressing.
I go on Amazon when I want to buy
Facebook
something.
isn't.
I don't peruse things.
Oh, no.
No.
You don't have, like, all this depressing shit pop up in your news feed on Facebook? Like, horrible news stories and kids getting killed and abducted and people getting murdered?
No.
Dude, that's
what the
all that's
fuck?
in my goddamn Facebook feed.
I mean, when I
You
do,
should probably
Really?
see what you're following and what you're liking.
when I do go on Facebook, I don't get any of that. I get
Mine's
like
all like positive quotes and funny videos.
funny video memes and shit. Yeah, cute animals and shit.
Cute
no, my
animals.
Facebook feed sucks. That's why I'm never really on it.
Yeah, that's really dark.
Yeah, right? What the fuck?
You're in the middle of a Stephen King novel. I mean, I think the NSA or whatever algorithm knows you're like a hyper anxiety driven.
They're just trying to trigger you,
They're
dude.
trying to trigger you, man.
It works. Well, there was that Facebook experiment that they admitted they conducted where they tried to alter people's moods by what appeared in their news feeds. It was all over the news, I don't know, a year ago or two?
Yeah, and they're probably not telling us the real thing. We're like, oh, we'll let this one slide.
Yeah.
Kind
No,
of
my
thing.
Facebook feed is pretty depressing.
I always feel like whatever people or corporations or government entities admit to, That's just the tip of whatever iceberg we haven't seen. Like,
Basically.
it has to be. Like,
Absolutely.
okay, you were forced to admit to this point, but not the rest. Like, what else?
Kind of like the
Tell me.
aliens. Yes, there is intelligent life out there. You mean here on Earth? Out there.
Living next
Next
We do
door.
not have communication. We cannot reach them. They are so far away.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yet Russia has enough advanced technology to communicate, and they keep all the websites in Russian and hidden from America. But
Really?
the Russians see them. The Russians know.
Well, what about English people who can speak Russian?
I think so, but I think it's encrypted that you can't put it
Oh.
in America
Deep
at all.
web shit.
Well,
But it's
we have different
available in
companies that.
Russia.
Well, the thing is that we have different. Like every country, this is what's so fucked up about the internet. It should be completely free, but whatever. Is that every country has different ways to give or not give or restrict their citizens access to the internet.
Talk
Not
about
to mention,
North Korea.
they allow Comcast and whatever other only two companies, whatever it is, to come in and give us whatever they charge us, whatever the fuck they want, because it's just fucking internet.
Yeah.
Whatever they want to give us access to this thing, it's available for you if you want it. Other countries are for free. Other countries, it's a Nextel or some other company. Like, it's all very different. I mean, I can see Russia having its own thing that has nothing to do with us. They probably have a different way to even code to internet for its citizens. Maybe it's different.
It's possible.
Maybe it's more restrictive, probably, because Putin, but I don't know.
What's Lexi showing us there?
No, that's kind of hot. I mean, I don't like the model, but I want you in it. It's enough.
There's love in this podcast.
Yeah, this child's going to be great.
And I'm always alone. This child's going to be fucking awesome.
And you're
Great.
always alone? You have a family,
I'm
bitch.
always alone.
You have a
They're
family.
always asleep.
Yeah, you have a family.
I do. I have a beautiful family. And I have beautiful friends like you two.
Oh,
Aw,
stop it, you.
yeah.
Buy me dinner first.
Buy me dinner before you put it in.
Yes.
So for me, pretty boring. Lots of work, lots of projects coming up due. Been just pounding it out. Wish I
Ew.
could say interesting things. Yeah, wish I could say interesting things. My daughter got a hoverboard recently.
Hoverboard?
Yeah, one of those hoverboards that you stand on and you just go.
What?
Yeah.
Like Back to the Future?
Yeah, no, they're hoverboards. They're called hoverboard. Are you showing a picture of a
Yes,
hoverboard?
immediately.
It's a hoverboard. You stand on it. It's got two wheels, and it's kind of like a Segway without the handles.
Oh, but it's on the ground, though.
Yeah, but they call them hoverboards.
Oh, okay, so they don't hover. Okay. I was thinking Back to the Future 2.
No, that would be fucking cool.
Well, that's what I was saying.
'Cause
Like,
Daddy would
bust
be
that
riding
out
that
right.
shit.
Exactly.
No, but now she runs around the house doing chores on the hoverboard.
Okay, well.
You just see her. There she goes.
As long as she does it, I guess.
crazy.
The chores, right?
So that was kind of interesting. That's kind of fun.
I mean, it sounds like a great time to be a kid.
It is, especially if you're my kids. 'cause
All I wanted was
I
a
spoil
Transformer
them.
toy that I never got.
And the metal Transformers, GoBots.
Yeah. Back then, they don't make metal toys no more.
They don't. I loved GoBots.
Everything's all safe. About the children. Make sure they don't choke on ladle.
Dude, we choked and we got over it. We got tougher for it.
Yeah, we did get tougher
You know what
for
I'm
it. You know what? The metal poisoning I got from all that made me a tougher man.
Gave me the balls that I have now.
Yeah, the mercury poisoning. Forget it. And the real temperature reading
The
things.
mercury balls.
Mercury balls. I used to play with mercury. When I was a kid.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we would bust open
Makes
a thermometer. Yeah,
A lot of things, are starting to click now.
Yeah,
You're right,
ooh.
Lexi. You're
By the
right.
way, I'm getting a flashback.
He just twitched as he said that.
Yeah. No one can see. It's a audio podcast, audio medium. Anyway, but we will take it out, my brother and I, or whoever the fuck, and we just have it in our hands and just swirl it around.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I never
That's
went into a cut.
probably not
We knew
good.
the cut thing, but let's face it, we were kids, and nothing ever happened. Promise
That you know of.
Right, that I know of. But I promise nothing happened like that. And we never got sick from it or anything like that. But I'm saying,
That you
we used to
know of.
play. We never got sick. I just told you. I was there. That's my overlords told me I never got sick, so I believe them. And we played with mercury. It was a lot of fun, though.
Mercury
it's a
is
fun metal to play with.
Yeah, liquid mercury is pretty cool.
It's cool. It looks like the T2-1000 or whatever from Terminator.
From Terminator.
Yes.
Oh, right.
That's why we played with it.
But I think it could seep through your skin. I'm not a scientist or a doctor.
I think
but
after time and
probably
after,
something you don't want
and
to
after
do.
temperatures, yes, it can do that. I've researched this after the fact. And but yeah, if you had like a cut open wound, for sure it'll go in there.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Kids, if you're listening, do not play with mercury.
It's hard to find mercury right now.
The
These
Supernatural
days.
Occurrence Studies podcast public service announcement.
Temperatures are like
Do not
all
play with mercury.
electrical now.
Oh yeah, but our
don't have no
kids,
thermometers
it's
like
all
that no more.
digital. You go to the doctor, they swipe this thing across your forehead, in a second it reads your temperature.
Really? That's
It's
what they do now?
crazy.
Oh wow, I still get the stick.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
Oh, it's been a while since I've been to the doctor. But yeah, wow.
So other than that, not much, unfortunately. But we do have exciting news. I mentioned it last episode. We're now part of the iHeartRadio network. Do you remember that? Pshaw. Oscar Pshaw.
I still haven't visited any of these things, but yeah, I believe you.
So I just want to say hello to our iHeartRadio network listeners. We appreciate you listening.
All three of you.
Welcome to the podcast. Unfortunately, something we tried last episode, I'm going to keep pushing on, but we didn't receive any voicemails. As I mentioned in the last episode, we do have a Chicago area code phone number, 872-529-0767, 872-529-0767, or 872-529-0SOS. Chicago area code. Guys, you could, listeners, leave us messages. We'll play the best of your messages on the intro to this podcast.
And if that doesn't sound like
hear your own voice on the airwaves.
And if that doesn't sound like a real Chicago area code for you, it's because we're in Chicago, Missouri. It's a small town.
Surprise! This whole time.
You know how there's a Paris, Texas?
68 or what? However,
like Paris, Texas, or
68, 78 episodes we're on.
Yeah,
what episode are we on again?
68.
Is it 68 or 78? 68.
We're almost
68 episodes later. It's Chicago, Missouri.
Yeah.
But no, you could leave us a audio message.
I think the most bland state I could think of. Missouri.
It is a Chicago area code, so you can leave us a message about anything you want. We'll pick and choose the messages, and we will play them on the air. Leave us ideas, comments, criticisms. Tell us you love us, you hate us.
Tell us to fuck off.
You want to see pictures of Lexi, whatever you want, just tell us. We'll play some of them.
Her pregnant ass belly.
Okay.
Her pregnant
it's not
belly
even
and
confirmed.
overly sensitive. Yeah, stop. I'll stop right now.
You can say her tits, won't you?
I was not going to say that, Oscar. I was going to say.
Well, you just did.
Chesticle.
Well, I can say it.
Chesticle area. You can say it. I can't say it.
Yeah, no, you can say it too.
Can I say chesticle area?
I mean, you should say tits.
It's a little better.
Chesticles. Never say that again.
So listeners, leave us a message, 872-529-0767. We'll play it. Look us up on Facebook at Chicago Ghost Podcast, at Chicago Ghosts on Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, Supernatural Occurrence Studies. What are you guys whispering about while I'm going through my rundown?
So I'm saying the devil loves your pancakes over and over.
The devil loves your pancakes.
It's
All right.
creepy, dude.
That is really creepy.
You know how people do the little...
YouTube, Supernatural Occurrence Studies. We got a lot of stuff there. Check it out. Contact us at contact@chicagoghostpodcast.com and patreon.com/Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast for early podcast releases, stickers, chat sessions with the hosts, signed ghostly photos, and a whole lot more. Oh, and commercial-free episodes, too.
I said,
Find us at patreon.com/Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
I said Patreon in Greek means the death of you.
Now no one's going to know how to get a hold of us. This is why we're not making money.
Oh, this is why. You think, huh? No, this is why we'll make money.
So, guys.
One day.
The lights are turned down low.
Oh, shit.
The drinks are flowing.
Yeah.
The ceremonial candle is lit.
Looks very similar to the last one.
We're going to continue this episode right after a word from our sponsors.
Ah, fooled again.
Today's episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast is brought to you by Grasshopper.com. Sound more professional and stay connected with Grasshopper.com. Grasshopper.com, the virtual phone system designed for entrepreneurs. Grasshopper works just like a traditional phone system, but requires absolutely no hardware to purchase or software to install. It's all managed conveniently online or by your phone. Callers can reach you wherever you are, at home, on your cell, or in the office. Get a toll-free number, multiple extensions, custom call forwarding, send and receive text messages, and more. Listeners of the show save $50 on your order when you visit www.trygrasshopper.com/ghost. That's trygrasshopper.com/ghost. Plans start at only $12 a month and come with a whopping 30-day money-back guarantee. Remember, that's trygrasshopper.com/ghost. Get connected now. This episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is brought to you by Gamefly.com. Right now, for our lovely listeners, Gamefly is offering a premium, free 30-day one-game trial. That's one free game trial shipped directly to you with a pre-addressed envelope included for super easy returns. No contracts and cancel at any time. Go to www.gameflyoffer.com/ghost. That's gameflyoffer.com/ghost. Choose from over 8,000 new and classic games for almost any console imaginable. Remember, that's www.gameflyoffer.com/ghost. Start your free trial now. And welcome back. Thank you for listening to the message from our sponsors. Make sure and check them out. Support the show. All right. In last episode, episode 67, we talked about David Paulides' research on strange disappearances in our national forests, and specifically the common traits those who have disappeared share.
And there's strange commonalities.
There really are.
They're odd commonalities. It's almost like an oxymoron there.
Yeah, odd commonalities. Yeah. Jumbo shrimp. Whether it was geographic locations where people disappeared, the common traits of the geographic locations, clusters,
yes,
in other words, what water had to do with it, what berries had to do with it, namely huckleberries and blueberries, names of the locations. A lot of them have devil in the name of these locations where people disappeared. What weather phenomena had to do with the disappearances. Type of people that go missing, specifically children, and the characteristics and the traits the children share.
Carbon dates for the land they're on.
Yeah.
That was my kind of theory. Yeah.
That's right. The elderly, the young adults and middle-aged people, what traits they shared, the health of those people that went missing. Tracking dogs, how they behave during the search and rescue missions. Yeah. People being found uphill in very inaccessible locations only accessible by helicopters in certain cases. People being last in lines, the returned, what happens when people are found, the oddities with clothes, and bodies being found in areas that have been searched time and time and time again.
Have you ever seen The Returned?
Not only people, but search and rescue dog, cadaver dogs, high-tech equipment, helicopters, you name it. Areas are searched, and then next thing you know, they turn around and boom, bodies appear.
Yeah.
Really strange, fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
And where we left off, we're actually going to talk about 9 of what I consider to be the strangest cases.
Are we going to talk about, after we talk about one case, we'll get into that one case?
Yeah, you can ask questions, we'll talk about it.
Cool.
Absolutely.
And real quick, The Returned, remind me of it, kind of reminds me of this, is a small town, surrounded by forest too, if I'm not mistaken. I've only seen a few episodes. The first episode is about all these people that have disappeared years ago. I think it was an exact number though, I'm not 100%. Years ago, I don't know if they were dead, and they knew they were dead, or they were presumed dead because they never found bodies. I forget what was the case, so might be wrong on the correlation here. But one day they all returned. That's what they call it. They call it return. The first episode, they come back into town, unaware of the time skip.
Wow,
unaware of a lot of things, but they return back in full health.
This stuff it's a really creepy topic.
Yeah, it's creepy.
And I don't know if I mentioned in last episode or this episode in the beginning at the top of the show, but it was really when I started researching the actual cases themselves that I got really freaked out.
Yeah.
I actually had to shut my windows and shut my blinds because it was late at night. I was actually scared. Mm-hmm. And I don't scare too easily, unless it's aliens, spiders, or airplanes.
I'm glad you stole the word out of my mouth.
Ghosts and demons and shit, that don't bother me. This bothered me. This fucked with me. So.
Yeah.
Again, we're covering David Paulides' research. Listeners could look at the show notes for this episode and find links to further information. I highly recommend you do so. The research is fascinating. The cases are fascinating. It's frightening. It's everything our listeners love.
What I love about it is that for anyone out there, there's going to be like one person out there at least that is familiar with this guy's work.
If they're listening to this show, it's a good chance. You're right.
Right. I would like to say that I love how we really are piggybacking from his research, because the guy gives, not only does he give no fucks to do it, but he doesn't give any indication to theorizing what could possibly be explained. Like that's not the guy. That's just not who he is. Kind of leaves it for us to do. I love how that's exactly what we're doing. We're like hypothetically getting into these whys and hows and shit.
You're right.
So we're doing this, we're like piggybacking from his research.
Yes. Good. Yeah, we're trying to take all his immense amounts of research that he's been compiling over the last 5 or 6 years, specifically in his Missing 411 books. There are 7 books in the series. Check them out. Highly recommend them.
How many cases did he go through?
Fascinating reads. Countless, man. Countless. And he's still got backlogs and backlogs of cases he just hasn't had time to get to.
So those are just
that's how rampant
he just cherry picks those?
Yeah, like some of the best ones.
Probably.
And that's kind of what I did here.
I tried looking for an audiobook of it, but there's no audiobooks.
Yeah, I guess not. I found that out as well. And of course, he had a documentary, Missing 411, the movie. Again,
which you saw, right?
I did see it.
Good?
I enjoyed it. It's
too informational?
No. I can never have too much information on this topic.
Sometimes it's dry. Sometimes
low. I'll say low production. I don't think there was a lot of money available to make this blockbuster documentary, but it was still really good, especially if you're familiar with the story.
Yes.
The research.
A lot of talking heads.
Some, but they interview people whose kids actually have gone missing and haven't returned, and it gets really intense and really emotional at some parts of this documentary. And it's just great. He actually interviews Les Stroud, the Survivor Man from TV's Survivor Man series.
Oh yeah, you told me.
Television Survivor Man series, where Les Stroud was challenged with completing the treks
that these kids are supposedly doing.
That's right, that these toddlers, younger, supposedly made in the time that they supposedly made them, traversing mountains and lakes and streams and fields, and he couldn't do it.
Right.
And Les Stroud himself, the Survivor Man himself, talks about this on the documentary. It's really impactful.
Good.
So please remember, as we talk about these missing cases, there are literally thousands of missing person cases, and a shit ton of them fall under the criteria that David Paulides establishes, the strange ones, the criteria we covered in episode 67. So again, listeners, if you just started listening to this episode 68, you got to go back to 67, right, Oscar?
Yes.
Because otherwise you're kind of left in the dark here.
This is a part 2, guys.
This is a part
two-parter.
So we don't have time to even scratch the surface in all these cases. So again, check out show notes, do your own research. Now, as I mentioned, 9 cases I compiled. I didn't put them in any particular order. I could have probably arranged them by date and just kind of did ascending or descending order. I didn't. Right. Oh, well, sue me. But
you're good. My lawyer's going to talk to you tomorrow.
This is a bad one. I
assume they're all bad.
So let's start with Jared Atadero. Jared Atadero. He was only 3 years old in October 1999 when he disappeared.
When the Blair Witch Project came out?
Was it 99?
Yeah. I think October.
Yeah, so this is a little boy, Jared Atadero, 3 years old, in October 1999 when he disappeared in the Comanche Peak Wilderness area near Fort Collins, Colorado, on the Big South Trail. The boy's father, Alan Atadero, took his son Jared to a family-owned hotel near the park. And on the morning of Jared's disappearance, Alan, the father, allowed his son to go on a hike with a Christian singles group, which the father knew very well. They were staying at the hotel. Father knew him, trusted them all, while Alan, the father, stayed back at the hotel and took a nap. The singles group, along with some children and 3-year-old Jared, made a few stops along the way before making it to the Big South Trail. Once at the trail, the group of adults, there were 10 of them, they broke into 2 groups, and the children would play a game, kind of sprinting back and forth between each group. And it was during one of these...
Oh, man, that sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah. And so, one group of adults was, further back on the trail. One group of adults was further up on the Big South Trail. And then the kids would sprint back and forth, kind of playing a game. And it was during one of these sprints that little Jared vanished. No screams or cries or anything out of the ordinary. He was just gone. A large search effort was assembled almost immediately, and the entire area was scoured. Helicopters went up and searched to no avail, and actually one of the helicopters crashed.
Really?
Yeah, and that's when the snow came and covered any hope of evidence in the form of footprints. Remember,
right.
Last episode, the immediate weather patterns that pop up after these disappearances, which ultimately hinder the search and rescue effort. Happens in almost every case.
Right.
Whether it's snow, rain, sandstorms, lightning storms, electrical storms. The search for Jared went on for 5 days. Local authorities even went so far as tranquilizing and tagging any mountain lions they came across, hoping the big cats would lead searchers to a den, expecting to find Jared's remains there. Nothing panned out. Little Jared's remains were found 4 years later and 550 feet above the trail where he was last seen. One of Jared's teeth were found along with the top of his cranium. His sweatpants were found inside out, and one of the legs was neatly shorn off. His sweatshirt was found in not too bad of condition, along with his 2 gym shoes. Now, the shoes are really interesting. Both of Jared's shoes were found untied, and according to Jared's father, the 3-year-old could never tie them. And the shoes, when they were found, were in near perfect, almost spotless condition. In other words, not at all looking like they had spent 4 years exposed to mountain weather. No discoloration, scuffs, dirt, mold, or watermarks. Nothing.
Not even from the day he disappeared.
Nothing.
Because he was walking, running around, and doing sprints and shit.
Right. Now, what experts say is that little Jared was taken by an animal, likely a mountain lion, and dragged 550 feet up the mountain, where he was then killed. Now, there's a few problems with this theory. One is the shoes. Jared's shoes were untied, as, according to his father, they were always untied and loose. If a mountain lion dragged the boy's body up 550 feet over rough, jagged, stony terrain, there is no way the untied shoes would have stayed on and would have, in fact, been lost during the supposed dragging of the body, never mind being found next to one another. 2. The fact that the shoes were in near-perfect condition, no scuffs or drag marks, no blood or dirt, makes it nearly impossible that the boy was attacked, incapacitated, and dragged anywhere. While his shoes were on, that is. And if his shoes were removed during the attack, who or what kept them for 4 years and placed them later where they were to be found? 3. Jared's sweatshirt. When it was found, it was a little dirty and faded, but that's it. There were no claw marks or gouge marks or blood on the stomach or neck area, likely places a mountain lion would maul a victim. In fact, hair samples were found on the sweatshirt's neckline, but DNA analysis of the hair said it wasn't Jared's hair and it wasn't mountain lion or bear. Who or what the fuck was it?
So they didn't know it was human?
They don't know.
Well, they didn't say it was human or not?
They said it wasn't Jared's.
Okay.
Or a bear or a mountain lion.
Okay.
Then you have the sweatpants, number 4. The sweatpants were damaged, but mostly by birds pecking at the fabric to retrieve nesting material. And then that leg that was shorn off almost cleanly, almost as if they were scissored off. And they were found inside out, like they were pulled off. Now, if a mountain lion dragged the pants off, rips from claws would have been visible on the sweatpants or at least on the lower half of Jared's sweatshirt, no marks like that exist. The cause of little 3-year-old Jared's death is still a mystery to this day.
Wait, how can they not tell? Was the decomposition rate 4 years?
All they found was a tooth, the clothes, and part of a cranium.
But the tooth was on his head?
Tooth was laying on a rock.
Oh, laying on his rock, okay. No, but
Shoes were placed on a stone, almost like an outcropping. Someone had to climb to that area to place the 2 shoes.
Kind of reminds me of that murder site we saw.
Oh, out in the desert.
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, not quite so much. The guy went through a specific amount of work. Not the same at all, but finding something in the middle of nowhere that someone placed. So my main question, and I don't think you have the answer for this.
It's okay. Let's talk about it.
Is if the rate? What is the rate of decomposition for the boy? Has it been 4 years? You could tell from looking at a body, from analyzing a body, if it's been 4 years dead.
Well, that's the thing. There was no body.
Oh, you just found the clothes. But
they found certain items of clothing.
And you can't find it with the tooth.
They did not.
I guess you can't.
They did not.
But can't. No, I guess you can't. Maybe you can.
I don't
Calcium.
know. In 4 years, teeth I don't think decay. I think it takes way longer than that.
But you can't see the rate of decay. You can see the last time it was.
Yeah, that wasn't mentioned in any of the reports.
It had enamel or something. I don't know. Maybe that's too specific.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking CSI shit right now. Okay. And it was laid out as if the body was there? Was it laid out like a boy? Or is it laid out more sporadically?
The clothes were kind of grouped together.
But not as if the body was there, right?
Correct.
Not like a layout of a human kid.
Correct. The kind of discarded, but discarded close to one another.
Gotcha. Okay. And not was it folded neatly or just laid out?
No folded. Just as
I know
if someone
I know
took
one of the
it
stories
and
has that. Okay.
took it and kind of just, here you go. Fuck you. There's your kid's clothes back. You know what I mean?
Like someone went all the
and
way
then
up there
the
to do
shoes,
that.
right? And then the shoes being placed in a very, very hard to reach area. As a pair,
right?
Untouched, unscathed.
What made this part harder to reach than the other parts of the clothing?
If you look at photos of where the shoes were found, you could see how you would have to scale a lot of rock and then walk out a bit to place these. It wasn't you could just walk up and place it. You had to. There was physical effort to get to the spot to put the shoes.
On top of the physical effort to get up there.
Right.
Okay. So, okay. I guess a question would be, how long do you think, this is not a real question that would be in the cases.
That's okay.
How long do you think it would be before, like, mountain weather or just being up there in general, immovable objects, would take before you can notice it's been there for more than a day? Will it take a day before shoes started looking like, oh, there's twigs on them, there's leaves on them, there's even if it doesn't rain that day, but maybe
I would say
moss. I don't know, moss is taking longer, but I'm saying
I would say a week. A week, you could tell that it's been probably left out in the elements. I mean, my kids leave shoes outside in the backyard when they go on the trampoline.
That's true.
They leave them in the grass. Next day, if there's dew overnight, the temperatures drop overnight and there's dew out there, you could see little moisture lines on the shoe.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay. I'm most a week. Like the best case scenario, you're
and
saying
now
a week.
right, and then we're talking about mountain weather, which is much more extreme, changes quicker than ours do here in the Midwest, right?
I mean, it's not quite as bad as jungle, but it's pretty much up there.
Right.
Okay.
Snow, rain,
so
animals.
We talked a little bit
dirt.
about this in the last show. Again, guys, listen to 67. And this is not a common place people go to. It's not a trail. It's a
right. This was 550 feet up above this trail where he disappeared.
So again, it has to appear either moments, which is unlikely, but let's say within a day before someone will get to it. How else can it stay so pristine?
Someone had it.
Within a week, if we're giving it the best benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Within a week, they have to have known, probably within that day, probably within a few hours, because I assume you would have to know that a certain person, probably a park ranger, maybe not, I don't know, or a tourist.
These were hikers.
Hikers
Hikers found it 4 years later.
Damn, hikers would find them at that moment under that pristine condition before the weather could get to them. That's very strange and specific.
It is. I know, man.
Okay.
And it's tragic. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. This poor kid's father is still tormented to this day.
Oh, dude, me too. I would be too. Can you imagine? Because he's constantly blaming himself for not waking up or not taking that nap or whatever.
Well, if I didn't take a nap that day.
Yeah. That's him every day. He wakes up if I didn't take the nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, little Jared Atadero. Now we move to Stephen, I hope I say his last name correctly, Kubacki. Kubacki. Stephen Kubacki.
Sounds like something you eat at a sushi place.
23 years old at the time of his disappearance on February 19th, 1978.
78, okay.
He disappeared in Holland. This is weird. He disappeared in Holland, Michigan, near Ludington, which is a cluster area. And also, if listeners remember Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast episode 65, the Lake Michigan Triangle, Ludington, Michigan is one of the points of the Michigan
I was
Triangle.
going to say, that sounds familiar.
The northeast point.
Yeah.
And it's a cluster area, which I didn't know back when we were talking about the Lake Michigan Triangle.
I'm telling you, these shows are going to start combining in a way.
And you mentioned that.
And I told you that.
You mentioned that. So I literally just got the goosebumps.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stephen was attending college studying German, of all things.
Of course.
Remember from 67?
Man, I really like the language too.
Remember 67, though?
Yeah, last week.
The elderly people who go missing.
Yeah, a lot of them are
typically
Germanic.
of Germanic descent. Yeah, so this guy was studying German, of all things, at college. On February 19th, 1978, Stephen decided to do some cross-country skiing along Lake Michigan. When he didn't return, Michigan State Police began a massive search. We're talking the State Police, the Coast Guard on Lake Michigan, canine patrols, foot patrols, you name it, they were searching.
Skiing, so it's cold.
Yes. Yeah, this is February.
So people can...
On the lake. So it's butt-ass cold.
Butt-ass cold, yes. And obviously bodies can't get buried under snow, right?
Well, the state police found Stephen's ski poles on the shore of Lake Michigan along with his backpack. Police also found footprints on the ice leading out 200 yards onto Lake Michigan where they just stopped. It appeared that Stephen abandoned all of his gear for whatever reason and just walked out onto the frozen lake. Initial thoughts were Stephen fell through the ice and had died, and the ice froze back over because by this time a few days had passed since his disappearance.
Did they look... I know you probably mentioned this. Sorry if I missed it. Did they look right away, immediately after? Like, how long did they find out that he was disappeared?
I mean, we're talking hours.
Hours.
Just
wow.
hours.
They must not have a lot of disappearances, I guess, to be ready for that kind of thing.
Or no one noticed when he didn't come back.
That fast?
That's when it happened. That's when the search party went out.
I'm just saying, I never hear of disappearances being acted upon that fast.
Oh yeah, you'll see
like
in
white
some of these
girls or
cases. Yep.
Okay.
Now, after searching for a few weeks, police finally wrote Stephen off officially as having died by drowning on Lake Michigan. This is not what really happened. Flash forward to May 5th, 1979, about 15 months later. Stephen Kubacki wakes up in a field in Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
What?
40 miles from his father's house in Deerfield, Massachusetts. Where he wakes up is 700 miles east of where he disappeared on Lake Michigan, almost in a near perfect straight line.
You're kidding.
When he woke up in the field, he was wearing someone else's clothes. He found a little knapsack next to him containing maps and other small items that weren't his. Stephen has no idea how he got there.
Did he find an iPhone?
He has no idea what happened on Lake Michigan back in 78. He has no idea why he walked out onto the ice, and he has no idea where he was for those 15 months.
23, so the guy's still alive.
He is still alive, refuses to do interviews. Polides actually got a hold of Stephen Kubacki, and Stephen said, nope, I'm not interested in doing any interviews. I'm perfectly fine. Don't know what happened. Not interested in talking about it.
Okay. Look, Jay, you and I are different kinds of people, more than your usual amount. that kind of shit happens to you,
I'm going to the top of the highest mountain and I'm screaming about it.
first of all, good job. And secondly, right. How is that not, I mean, okay, maybe not that extreme, right? But how do you not like,
Maybe the government.
what does that mean? You can't just say that.
The government. They can.
I don't like this cookie. Maybe it's the government.
What about the government?
The government,
Government.
they can talk to him and say, don't say anything about
well,
this or else we'll do this.
You got a point.
Because if the government knows about it, obviously they'll contact the people that have been missing if they come back and be like, don't talk about it.
After
and if you
all
do,
these
keep
years?
it vague.
That's true. It's possible.
After all these years?
Same with people who've been
He won't do
abducted.
it.
They
He
have
will
to
not
keep it
talk.
plain because the men in black come and say stuff, or the government comes and say stuff to the people who've been abducted by aliens.
My answer would be outrage. It wouldn't be
That's
like, oh,
crazy,
sure, government,
creepy,
I'll
man.
gladly do that. My answer is outrage.
Unless they threaten to kill you.
Yeah, and I mean that's.
For all I know, they did, and they copied my ass. I don't know what the fuck
we
they
made,
did.
we made fun of you instantly there, but you make a good point. Maybe they were threatened. Maybe this Stephen Kubacki, someone got to him and said, "You will not talk about this. You will
Yeah.
not give interviews about this. You're alive. You're safe. Let's keep it that way." It's a possibility.
Will that stop you from talking?
I mean, who knows what Steven's situation is? Does he have family? Does he have kids? Who knows, man? If someone threatened my kids, I won't say shit. And of course, I'm just speculating. I don't know what his family situation is, but that would shut me up. If I was single, fuck, I'm telling everybody.
Yeah.
Come get me, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm telling everybody first. But when your life situation changes like that, you have responsibilities. Maybe Lexi's onto something.
I'll pull Lex in the panic room, and then I'll tell everybody.
Crazy though, right?
Yeah, just lock me up.
Someone else's clothes, 700 miles away, gone for 15 months, 40 miles from his old man's house
Put it this
in
way.
Massachusetts.
So this information...
Disappeared from a cluster in the Lake Michigan Triangle. Explain that. You can't explain it, but
it kind of reminds me of like two evil forces working against each other. Like, what happened when he walked into the ice? The Bermuda Triangle's fighting with the cluster. Like, hey, we saw him first. No, we got him over at the hill. He was ours first. We tagged him first. He's our disappearance. Nah, bro, I haven't gotten much this week, man. That many boats are passed. It's fucking February, and they're like,
and just to
Argue
have
it
his,
out.
what about the footprints?
that's weird.
The footprints were found. Police found the footprints, and they just disappeared 200 yards out into the lake. Just stopped, gone. Walked into a black hole? A fucking time warp? What? A wormhole?
A straight line.
It drives me.
A straight line.
It's pretty. Yeah, if you go to a map and you draw from where he disappeared to where he wound up, it's pretty much a straight line.
a ruler
700
follows that.
700 miles
Wow.
away, man.
But
15
nearby
months,
his father's thing.
40 miles from his father's
See,
place.
that's the weird. This is all weird, but that's the weirder extra twist.
Yeah, and the clothes. Again, we have this clothes thing. Yeah, he's dressed, but it's not his fucking clothes. And it goes back to where we have mentioned in episode 67 with the clothes.
Okay, that guy had a
theme.
twin.
With the clothes theme,
All
where
these people have twins.
sometimes the people are found, their clothes are on, but the clothes are backwards or they're inside out.
And
It's
this
like
guy has completely different clothes. Of a
yeah,
different
and
person.
but it's like something or someone is redressing these people. Only they don't really understand how we do things and how humans do things, how we dress. They have an idea,
made to look
they just
that way.
don't get it.
Or made to
Oh
look that way.
God, dude, it's getting all right.
No, that's cool.
Corey, did you have another?
Yes, real quick.
Yeah, please.
How do we know this if the guy won't talk about it? Is that because when he woke up, he was freaking out, and then that's how reports got filed and
Yeah,
statements
pretty
were
much.
taken? And like, I don't know these clothes, hence that way we know it. Okay, so this guy, David Pallades, found this information through statement reports,
Correct.
and then tried to corroborate with the witness, and obviously
Did speak to now? According to Pilates, he did speak to the witness, but the witness is not having. it.
Well, speak to him as in, do you want to take an interview? Nope.
Correct.
Okay, that's it. That's the extent of that. So he's alive. That's all he
Yeah,
knows.
but the guy said, "I'm fine. I'm alive. I'm healthy. Not interested in talking about it."
Cool. Okay. All right.
Ready for more?
Did he have an identification? I mean, if it's different clothes, no ID?
No ID. No ID was
No
mentioned.
one else's ID? From that?
No ID was mentioned. Just another little knapsack was next to him with maps that
I
weren't
wonder.
his.
I wonder what we
and
would
other
do
little
with
items.
that evidence today, with whatever advanced sciences we have.
How do you even? where
If
do
it's
you
still
even begin?
available. I mean, with hair fibers and shit. I don't know. Maybe you can find DNA like,
Oh, like
okay,
on
this
the,
hair
on the other clothes or
on
something.
the other
Oh,
clothes.
that's a good. Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
this belongs to some David Nesbitt.
Does divine? Yeah.
And,
Does it belong to someone
and
else?
you
who
go to this
disappeared?
guy's house like, oh shit, I appeared in this other guy's clothes. Like, I don't know.
God.
Like, you know what I'm saying? 1978, right? So
Oh, you know, they didn't even have DNA and nothing back then.
I know that, yeah. Okay, carry on.
Cory Kelley.
Okay, is he a pop star from Canada?
Cory with a K.
Okay.
K-O-R-Y Kelly. Age
Oh.
38.
K-O-R-Y?
It's cute, isn't it?
No,
that's
I'm like,
cute.
poor bastard.
Oh, I thought it was cute.
Okay, that's cute.
Age 38. A hunter, actually, went missing October 16th, 2006 in Beltrami Island State Forest north of Fort Town, Minnesota. 62 agencies searched for Kelley,
What?
as well as hundreds of volunteers spending over 6,500 hours in the search.
We have that many agencies?
Cory had been to this area many, many times before to hunt, and he knew it like the back of his hand. He knew it extremely well. He was accompanied by another hunter, one of his friends. Cory also had a dog with him, a Labrador. This is a theme we brought up in 67, the dog, right?
Again, guys, listen to the episode.
Yes. So, his friend decided to leave to go and get gas and some food and was gone for about an hour and a half. Friend gets back, Cory and his dog are gone. Now you got to ask yourself, how far can someone really get in an hour and a half? That is, if Cory got up and left the second his friend left. Reality is, you should ask yourself, how far could someone travel on foot in the wilderness in about an hour or so? 9 days after Cory disappears, some searchers find his Labrador wandering the woods, starving and dehydrated.
Aww.
Funny thing is, there's tons of water in the area. And a little while later, the dog was proven to have fed on deer based on stool samples taken by a veterinarian. So he's starving and he's dehydrated, yet he ate and was proven by a veterinarian to have eaten, and there's tons of water in the area. It's curious.
And did he have urine in his urine sac?
Yeah, they didn't say. But now a few days later, after the dog was found, searchers find Cory's cigarettes and a lighter on the ground, and his lighter on the ground. Now this was worrisome to searchers because as an experienced hunter, Cory would have known to keep his lighter to start a fire for warmth, or a signal fire, or a cook fire.
Yeah, fire is very useful.
Right. And a day after that, 14 miles from the original site, Cory's overalls, socks, and hooded sweatshirt were found by a tracker on the case. About 14 days after the search began, snow begins to fall. Rescue dogs are proving useless, and the search is called off. Oh. Fast forward to the following spring, when the snow begins to melt, a helicopter was flying over the area where Cory's clothes were found, and there they find in high reeds, weeds in other words, reeds, in an area searched countless times before by humans and dogs, there they find Cory's almost totally nude body. The local sheriff went on record stating that he believed Cory died the first night he went missing, even though that sheriff had absolutely zero proof this was the case. Cory's own mother said that she doesn't believe that her son physically could have traveled 14 miles through the wilderness in just a few hours. No one knows what really happened to Cory Kelley. Why did he flee in the first place? Why did he take off his clothes and put down his lighter, his source of heat and food? Why was his dog found nearly dead from starvation and dehydration, even though there was ample water and it had been eating? Or who knows even how Cory traveled the distance he did when his own mother said he couldn't do it. The cause of death is still unknown.
Even though there's a body?
Even though there's a body.
A full intact body?
Full intact body, nearly nude, laid out in reeds in an area that had been searched countless times by humans and dogs.
In a particular way he was laid out? Face down?
I believe reports said he was face down.
Face down, like
I should have put that
splayed
in.
out, like spread eagle.
I didn't say spread eagle. I should have put in my notes whether it was up or down. We could look
Because we
that
mentioned
up.
that in the 67. Okay, this is a pickle because
It's a big pickle.
I mean they're all fucking pickles. I mean that's what she said. I know. I get it. It's funny. Now, this is a strange one from the usual because in the 67, like we said, in the common traits of these people is that children, elderly, top two. After that's the middle age and the younger, whatever, young adult. Those are
Young
last
adults
place,
and middle age.
last place to disappear. And the dog, how far was the dog from his body found?
Undetermined.
And here's the thing that made me realize when I said earlier when you were saying the story, is that it seems like the weather interrupts searches
Right.
when they're about to find them.
Oh.
Because it happened, this one happened 14 days after they started searching.
Then what about the search dogs?
What do you mean?
So I would think search dogs would be far more accurate than human searchers.
Yeah.
They're highly trained. They get the scent. They let them go. They hunt down that scent until they find something, or they don't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Right?
before
So
they
the
would
dogs
actually
would have found this guy.
No, I'm saying before the dogs would have found this guy, they had to stop because of snow.
Oh, I see. Call the search.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it seems to be like it doesn't. So it's not like because I thought when you said that the weather, being not every case, but you said most of them, like
It
a
was
high.
like 98 and 99% of the cases.
That's a lot. That's basically all of them. That's like
all,
antibacterial cream,
Right.
So
the
that's a
weather
lot.
comes
If
in.
you said 70, that's still a lot. But I would have said, okay, it can just nature can happen. But 99, that's insane. 98, even 97 is amazing. So like, I thought when you said that, I thought it means like after the disappearances. Now, what seems to be now the case with this guy, 14 days after.
14 days, yes.
2 weeks.
Yep.
Lifetime in searches.
Yeah.
6,500 hours looking
put
for
in.
this guy.
Yeah.
How many fucking agents? We had that many agents.
60-something agencies.
What the fuck? How many agents do we have out there? Anyway, I hope they don't find my ass when I try that hard, right? Chicago, they won't.
No, they won't. You're Hispanic. They'll just chalk it up to gang violence.
Yeah, we have so many of us anyway. I mean, we're like jackrabbits. So, anyway, okay. So all of that apart, like that's the only thing. The weather, if whatever intelligence behind this weather thing, this proves it more for me that it's hindering.
It's concocted. It's made.
Perfectly hindering when these searches would actually need it the most.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's too specific.
I would agree.
14 days after, they would have. If it was 15 days, they would have found the body probably instead of waiting. How much more longer? After the season, right?
Yeah, the season.
Yeah.
When the snow started to melt.
So this entity or group or people or time rift or aliens or all of the above,
Could be all the above.
or demons,
Right? Yeah, that too.
they wouldn't have had the time to put them out the way they wanted, put the lighter where it was, they found the lighter by then, right? Before the
lighter was already found.
Yeah, the lighter and
that
the
was
dog were found.
the previous season.
The only thing that wasn't found was the body.
Yes.
That's what's important here.
Clothes were found. Lighter was
Yeah,
found.
that's the
cigarettes
important
found,
part. But the body was the important part. So they wouldn't have had the time with the body to do what they wanted, and no cause of death.
No cause of death.
What did they find out?
I'm guessing it would have been exposure.
But there is every death has a cause. Like I'm saying, like they won't know. Like maybe his heart. They can tell if their heart stopped first, for example.
You would think. Yeah, none of that was in the reports I read. I would imagine it was exposure. But there too, kind of like we mentioned in episode 67, you have that condition where people experiencing hypothermia take off their clothes because their body sends out all the blood and all the senses to the limbs, and you feel extremely hot, so you start stripping clothes. It's
the last thing you should be doing.
When you're in the throes of hypothermia, right?
Yeah.
But if the sheriff is right and the guy died that same night, would have hypothermia even been able to set in yet when he was fully clothed and dressed for the cold? He had, overalls on. He had his sweatshirt on. Would hypothermia even set in by that point, having been dressed warm already?
And the decomp, does that check out?
No decomposition on the body.
At all? What do you mean? Are you saying they couldn't tell if it was decomposing from last season?
It was, from the reports, it was like it was a fresh body.
Okay.
Now, could that be effects of being frozen? Maybe. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I know that the freezing can halt the decomposition, but not like I make it fresh.
Yeah, there was definitely no mention
freeze-dried burgers over like fucking, I'm saying there's a difference. There's a difference.
Freezer burn shit. No, there were definitely no mentions of decomposition on the body.
Was the body mangled from the weather?
No.
You know that or you don't know that?
I'm guessing from the way the reports read. There was no mention of any of that. No animal marks, no animals feeding on the body, nothing. He was just pretty much nude, laying in the reeds where it had been searched time and time again.
So he probably died that day. Time warp, and then appeared that the day they were found. The day the helicopter went up. Okay.
And I'm slowly shaking my head like, I know. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
All right.
Now, the next one I added because it shows the older age range of the disappeared. This guy's name was John Devine. And John Devine was a 73-year-old man who disappeared in 1997 while hiking in Olympic National Park near Mount Baldy in northern Washington state. Devine's plan was to hike to the peak of Mount Baldy. The trail to the top of Mount Baldy is a tough 24 miles, and even though Devine was 73, he was in shape, healthy, and a very experienced long-distance hiker. He was accompanied by a friend, and on the day Devine went missing, his friend went off to hunt while Devine went for a hike. And guess what? Devine was never seen again.
Oh, I think I say he was okay. He was okay the whole time.
Never found a body. Again, all SAR attempts, search and rescue attempts, turned up nothing. Not a shred of clothes, nothing.
Do you think they play a night at Baldy Mountain there?
What's that?
You never heard of the Night at Baldy Mountain?
No.
It's a very famous orchestral piece of music.
Oh.
But Baldy Mountain.
Maybe they do.
Sorry, someone out there got my joke. Continue.
So again, I chose that one because it shows the older age spectrum there. And again, just all search and rescue efforts, nothing. Just vanished.
And they don't know from what origin point, because how do you know when someone vanished?
Right.
But nothing after that, though?
That's it.
Oh, wow. It's just plain disappearance.
Plain disappearance.
And the guy didn't have any...
In Olympia, what was it? Olympia National Park.
Olympia National Park.
Olympia National Park, northern Washington State. Yes. Cody Sheehy. Cody Sheehy was just 6 years old when he wandered alone into the Wallowa Wilderness in Oregon while it was snowing and raining. Cody was missing for 15 hours. Ground searchers and helicopters loaded with FLIR technology, again, that's forward-looking infrared radar, looks for heat signatures on the ground, found absolutely nothing. The morning after his disappearance, as I said, about 15 hours has passed, Cody walked up to a house 20 miles away asking for help. A 6-year-old traveling 20 miles through rough terrain, rain, and snow in 15 hours? I look at my son, Nico, who's 5, and I say, no way in hell. He was fine.
Same age?
6. Nico's 5.
Okay.
But still, same thing.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
He was fine. He was found. He walked up to the house, but he was missing for 15 hours, and he trekked 20 miles through the rain and snow and rough terrain in 15 hours.
Was this all within the same natural thing? Did he have to skip towns? Did he go through expressways?
No town. No. He walked all through forest.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Now, the terrain, rocks, trees, fallen trees, not to mention the weather, and being 6 years old, impossible.
How did they lose him?
Impossible. He wandered himself. He walked into the wilderness himself. He just kind of wandered off. And boom, gone. And then showed up 20 miles, 15
knocked at
hours
whose
later.
door?
It was just a stranger's door. Walked up to the door and knocked.
So people are living in cabins
asked for help.
Like
it must,
cabin?
yeah, something maybe
like
living
that?
on the outskirts.
Not like a residential suburbia, right?
Not residential suburbia.
So it comes up, knocks at something. He's fine?
Fine.
Clothing?
I mean, he was, disheveled. He was hungry. He was cold.
Huh. Okay, so he actually exhibited things he should be exhibiting.
But he made it 20 miles in 15 hours.
15 hours.
Think about when you're driving and you're driving a long distance and you're ticking off miles. I do it every week, right?
Yeah, you must have a game for it.
2-3 miles seems forever in a car when you're trying to get somewhere. It seems forever. This is 20 miles through rough terrain.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I don't look at miles the way you do, but I know the feeling very well.
A mile isn't short.
No, it's not.
Especially for little 6-year-old legs.
It's almost 2 kilometers. Anything else strange about the incident that I should know now?
No, that's it.
And what year was it again? Remind me.
That was, excuse me, let me go back up in my notes here. That was... Oh, I didn't give a year on that one.
Okay. You should have gone ascending order on that one.
Yeah, I guess
on
so.
these. Is there a year, though, or no? You don't know?
No,
you just don't have it in
I
notes?
don't have it in my notes.
Oh, okay. I was curious. Maybe that could be a factor that I could ask something, but it's okay.
That's okay.
And he's fine? Anything checked up on him or anything like that? Mm-hmm. Is he an interviewee by David whatever?
Pilates? No interviews by David Pilates.
Maybe he's still young.
But it's crazy. It's impossible. It
is. It is impossible. Yeah, I mean, what is possible is that a helicopter comes in, takes him, flies him over there, drops him off.
With no one seeing the helicopter?
Obviously, I'm just saying what's physically possible, and assuming everyone knows.
Or someone picked him up and carried him.
There's no roads.
No roads.
So that's not possible.
This is all forest walking.
No possible. You can't fucking climb on the friendliest deer.
This isn't Cinderella.
Right. Yeah, this is...
Perplexing.
Perplexing is the right word.
It's scary.
Perplexing
it's scary,
nature.
man.
That's what we should call this fucking episode.
Well, the next one's a 2-year-old.
Great.
2 years old.
Even less reliable memory.
Keith Parkins. Keith Parkins, as I said, was only 2 years old when he disappeared from his home near, and I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but Umatilla National Forest in the Blue Mountains of southeast Washington and northeast Oregon. He had been playing. He was running around a barn on his family's property. He ran around the backside of the barn. There were other kids with him. He ran around the backside of the barn, and he never came back around. He was gone. 19 hours later, this 2-year-old resurfaced 12 miles away. If he indeed walked to the spot where he was found, authorities said he would have had to have traveled over 2 mountain ranges, as well as through barbed wire fences,
of course,
and through creeks and rivers.
Yeah.
Impossible, I say.
Impossible, everyone says. And he reappeared.
Yeah, he did. He was found.
Fine?
Fine.
Cold, shivering like this?
No worse for wear.
Nothing else strange about it? Where did he
Nothing
appear?
else strange.
Who found him? How did he find them? Did he find someone?
I guess rescuers found him. There's not a lot of information on that particular case.
It's almost like the rescuers get called in, like, hey, we got a boy missing. How many miles away?
It
15?
was 12 miles away.
Hey, guys, we have a boy missing 12 miles away at the barn. We got to look at the area. He gets out of the house like, hey, there's a boy right here.
They set up a perimeter. How far could this person of this age and this size travel in this amount of time?
And they start shrinking it from that point.
I believe so, yeah.
To
and
look.
It was at the 12-mile mark. That's where he was found.
So the perimeter was farther out than 12 miles.
It must have been.
Oh, yeah, because probably the child predators, I guess if they're taking him via vehicle, that's what the guy worried about?
Yeah, no mention of any vehicles, nothing.
Because the perimeter, assuming that a kid's walking on foot, wouldn't be 12 miles long. It would be like 5 at most.
Yeah.
Right, just to make sure. But 12, right, that's overkill. The kid can't go through that.
And the kids
but if we're assuming someone's being taken by an adult, probably some sort of craft.
Larger perimeter. Right.
Larger perimeter. Right? Probably 20 miles.
And that's what the kids who were playing with him said. They were playing, running around this barn. He went behind the barn, never came out the other side.
Probably a very common thing.
19 hours later and 12 miles away.
Yeah. What year was this one again?
No date on this one.
Okay.
No date.
Okay.
Keith Parkins, guys. You could look up Keith Parkins missing 411. I didn't put the date down, but...
By the way, I have a strange question. Why is it called Missing 411? Why 411?
Maybe information on the missing?
Oh, okay. So it's not a specific number, but something else?
But yeah, I think it's just like information on these missing cases.
Oh, so that jokey title mentioned earlier is a redundant title.
When we were thinking about
The
titles.
411 on missing 411. I thought it was
right.
like a specific reason why it was 4. Okay, well, that's a definitely redundant title. All right, continue.
Here's an 8-year-old named Sammy Boote.
Okay, well, he deserves to be. I'm kidding.
Horrible.
I'm kidding.
Now, Sammy Boote was just 8 years old when he disappeared near Cleetwood Cove.
These names are killing
I know,
me.
it's a tough one. Sammy Boote was just 8 years old when he disappeared near Cleetwood Cove at Crater Lake National Park in Oregon on October 14th, 2006. This is a sad one. Sammy and his father were out exploring what's called a cinder slope. I don't know what it is, but apparently it's at Crater Lake National Park. They're out exploring a cinder slope together when Sammy saw something yellow off in the distance that he thought might be gold. So he wanted to stay and explore, even though it was getting dark, and his father wanted to leave and return to a cabin he had rented for them a short drive away. Little Sammy refused to come down off of the cinder slope, and as his father ran up to get him and bring him back down to the car, Sammy, likely thinking it was a game, darted away from his father, keeping about 50 feet ahead of the father during the chase.
Oh, that's too far.
The father said Sammy, quote, disappeared over the top somewhere, end quote, and that's when he lost his son and no one ever saw him again. About 200 people were involved in the search and rescue effort. Now, Sammy, he suffered from autism. If you remember from last episode, right?
Yeah.
Sammy suffered from autism and was terrified of bright lights and loud noises, so search and rescue personnel could not use the traditional horns and whistles when trying to locate Sammy because they would frighten him away instead of drawing him in. Air support was used along with heat-sensing cameras, foot support, search dogs. In fact, Sammy's was the largest rescue effort in the Crater Lakes National Park's 104-year history. No one ever found little Sammy. Not a single trace. Sammy disappeared 50 feet from his father, never to be seen again. I can't even imagine being in the father's shoes. There I am, chasing Nico, my son. He's right there, just ahead of me. He disappears over a summit for just a few seconds before I get to the same summit, and nothing. He's just gone.
Dusk, right? Happened around dusk.
Yeah, sun was setting.
2006?
2006. How far could a grown man close a 50-foot gap?
Fucking pretty fast.
4 seconds?
I mean, what's 50 feet? Your backyard?
If that.
Yeah.
I think my backyard's bigger.
So that's
It's got to be. I think my
kids...
backyard's twice the size,
Yeah, right?
if not 3 times the size. But a grown man could close that gap in seconds. He sees. Just picture this, listeners. You see your kid. You're chasing him. You're like, "Come here, little bastard! I want to go." Kid crests the top. He just goes over the top. 3 or 4 seconds later, you're at that same spot. Nothing's on the other side. Kid gone.
This makes me think of the lack of witnesses. There is none. All of these cases so far, I assume they're all the same in this regard, is that none of them sees people disappear.
They never actually see someone
Taken or vanish.
correct.
No one sees that.
It's seconds.
It is
seconds when you lose sight.
The phenomena, the clearly intelligent thing, people, person, aliens, demons, all the above. The clearly intelligent thing is taking them when people are specifically not looking. It's like it's waiting for you not to look in order to take it. It's literally waiting for that. It seems way too... This one seems like the most opportunistic of all the cases you've mentioned so far.
Wait. There's another one. There's another
fuck
one.
me then. But so far...
There's another one.
It seems very opportunistic. It's almost like, let's say it's called this thing a banshee. The banshee is like hiding behind whatever other world that no one can see it in, and it's right in front of us.
Behind the veil.
Behind the veil, right? Oh, the veil, that's nice. It's a cute thing. Yeah, behind the veils, hiding behind this thing. He's just walking around. He's a kid like, autism. That's probably its biggest dinner thing. I don't know what it is. And he like looks at him like, okay, Dad, he's going to go over the ridge. Great. Now he can't see him for 4 seconds.
Oh, dude.
That's what's going on.
Goosebumps
It just
all over
seems
my
like
fucking
such a-
body, dude.
Like, that doesn't happen unless you know unless you know the future and you know this kid's going to be there at the exact time when his father won't see him for you to snatch him up.
Oh,
Other than
Oscar,
that
holy
reason,
shit.
other than that reason, either it's opportunistic or they know predestination, predetermined layout of your life. They know
Where
this
you're gonna be
kid
at that
will be
second.
there. Right, that's-
Oh, God damn it. I'm not going to sleep tonight.
And I don't know what that means.
I'm not going to sleep tonight. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
Colin Finnerty. Colin Finnerty disappeared May 25th, 2013. He was 30 years old at the time of his disappearance. He was an ex-athlete, actually a Division II quarterback at Grand Valley State in Allendale, Michigan, and finished his football career as the winningest quarterback in college football history.
You say winningness?
Winningest. It's a real word.
What does that mean?
He
Does he have
won.
wings?
He won the most games in college as quarterback in college football history.
Okay. Wow.
And this guy was actually signed by the Baltimore Ravens in 2007 and the Denver Broncos in 2008. So this is no dude to fuck with, right? After his football career ended, Colin became a successful medical salesman. He was, as I said, he was very physically fit. He was imposing at 6 feet 2 inches, about 230 pounds of solid muscle. People, friends, teammates seen him as invincible and not afraid of anything, like an unstoppable force. On the evening of May 25th, 2013, while camping with his friends, Colin decided to go fishing on the Baldwin River in Michigan. His wife agreed to pick him up at around 9:30 p.m. and bring him back to the cabin he was renting. At 9:27, 35 minutes after having left to fish, Colin called his wife frantically and described being followed by 2 men. They were standing on the bank of the river he was fishing in, matter of fact, and one of the men was behind him mere 20 feet at the time of the call. And Colin said that neither men, he's talking to his wife, he said neither men would say anything to him when he tried to speak to them. He then told his wife he was getting out of the river and was taking off his clothes right before hanging up. His wife said he sounded really scared. Colin placed 2 more calls, again describing being followed and that he was not sure where he was, but it was getting rough wherever he was. During one of these last 2 calls, Colin gave his wife coordinates off of his iPhone. Searchers went out. Helicopters searched, even cadaver dogs. No one found anything. He disappeared. Then on May 28th, 2013, 2 days after his disappearance, Colin Finnerty was found dead lying face down in a wooded area about 1 mile from where he disappeared and in an area searched many times. And he was found just 100 yards from a road. Searchers said it looked as if his body was dragged to its final resting place.
Oh, so it was like marks on the floor?
Yeah, his face, yes. And there's something else, too. His face was buried in the dirt to where you couldn't really see any of his face. So he was face down, face buried in dirt. He still had on his waders and his fishing vest. Colin didn't remove his clothes, as he originally said to his wife. All who were involved in the search agreed that Colin would have been able to find his way out from where he went missing. It wasn't hard. While search efforts were underway, strangely, Colin's iPhone pinged in 4 different locations, 4.37 miles apart. The official cause of death was pneumonia, exacerbated by opioid use, even though Colin showed no signs of being sick prior to his disappearance. Even his wife said so.
Opiate use?
Opioid use. He also suffered traumatic level 2 brain damage, maybe from years of playing football or from something else. He never showed any signs of any sort of brain damage during his football career. It was said he had pneumonia, which means he had water in his lungs or possibly vomit.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't sick before, how did the liquid, whatever it was, get into his lungs? Was he hit in the head and then drowned? If so, by who? No signs of physical abuse appeared on his body at all.
But if that would happen, wouldn't you drown before you got pneumonia?
Right.
Right.
Who were the strange men following him? Why the strange GPS pings on his phone? Why
Exactly
wasn't
4.73 miles?
Exactly 4.37 miles.
37, sorry.
And why wasn't his body discovered during the first search? Now, you asked about were there drag marks. Yeah, there was. And the back of his waders. The crisscross that the straps make on the back of his waders, what he was wearing in the water to stay dry, were twisted from behind. And I'm making this clawing, twisting. They're twisted from behind, like he was used to pull.
Right, like a scruff of
Where
an animal's neck.
Yeah, it wasn't right, like the scruff of an animal's neck, like someone dragged him from the back of his waders. No evidence of other people, like footprints, nothing. No physical evidence on the body of another person having touched him.
Might be the closest Sasquatch thing, because I assume that something as powerful as that thing, like we mentioned in 67 briefly, and sure other theories, is that, I mean, what can with one hand, or let's say two hands even, grab that X mark at the thing, drag
this
him?
230-pound
Big
solid muscle
guy.
dude.
Yeah.
Dead weight, too.
Dead weight, yeah, that weighs more.
Got to, right?
Yeah, when you're being lifted, you would do everything in your power to, right? To, like, let easy the weight up and whatever. I don't know how often you carry, Jay, but I'm carried along how often. No, not really.
Crazy, right?
That one's really, he's by himself, of course. Never be by yourself. Clearly, that's the motto today. But even when you're with others, you still could disappear. So,
right. Remember the last in line.
And this was nighttime, you said, right?
Yes. Yes, he went night fishing.
He appeared 1 mile away.
Called multiple times. Gave GPS coordinates. Wasn't at the coordinates.
And then the coordinates changed after that, or the coordinates that was given?
Yeah, well, he wasn't at the coordinates he gave his wife, and then while he was missing, the phone pinged from 4 different locations out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
A certain distance apart from each ping, with the 4.37 miles. The look on Oscar's face is great.
It's not great, no.
It's puzzling, man.
This one gave me the most chills because he was calling the wife while it was happening. He described 2 figures.
2 people.
He said 2 men?
2 men. 2 men were following him.
Okay, that's probably an assumption.
They wouldn't talk to him. One was...
He said 2 men?
Yes.
20 feet apart was the closest of that one of the calls.
The one of the guys was 20 feet. He said 20 feet behind him on the shore.
While he's running away.
While he was in the river. Fishing. So... Dude's in the river, casting out. But no, standing. Remember, he's in his waders. So he's out. He's probably fly fishing.
Right. Okay,
people go out into the lake to fly fish. They have their waders on.
Right.
Standing behind him on the shore, he said, about 20 feet away, one of the guys was standing there. There were 2 people following him. One of them was 20 feet away, that close. He would try to talk to him. No response. Frantic calls. Told his wife he was going to be taking his clothes off. Never did.
That's a strange one, too.
No signs of other people having been in the area.
That you were taking your clothes off when it was clearly on him. Was it backwards?
Not backwards, but again, those straps were kind of twisted, like someone had grabbed and pulled.
Why would we say that if he didn't take off his fucking clothes? That one's really creepy because 20 feet in this room. I mean, right, if it's dark, pitch... Okay, if it was pitch black, maybe you can't see someone's face.
I would say 20 feet is probably half of this room.
You probably could say that you can tell if someone's behind you is a man or not.
Yeah, he did say 2 men.
Yeah, but also could that be an assumption? How pitch dark is it? I don't know. Because sometimes when it's pitch dark...
Are you saying they're women? They might have been women?
No, or maybe he could... Like, if he actually had seen them, he would have said 2 monsters.
Oh, gotcha.
Or 2 demons. I'm not saying women. Although totally possible. I'm just honest. Yeah. It's very weird.
Well, let's see what you think of this one.
Hey, honey, 2 linebackers are behind me.
Run, motherfucker, run.
Dude. And he's just following me. See, okay, 2 things throw me off so much. Is the clothes removal thing, which he doesn't do when he says he's doing it, which is something that they do in preparation to leaving, which he said his wife he would do. And he's going to get picked up. about 3 minutes from the point he first called, 9:27. 9:30 was roughly when she's going to come pick him up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
9:30.
No, I'm not saying everything's got to be super accurate. She's going to be exactly at 9:30.
Right,
but,
no.
But something like that. And she's at least en route or about to be en route, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, he made the call at 9:27.
Right, the first one.
35 minutes after he left to go fishing is the first time he called his wife.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to pick him up around 9:30 and bring him back.
Right.
So
Okay.
right before she was to come, he called frantic, saying he was being followed by two men.
And that's the second thing, the followed by two men. On that first phone call, he mentioned that, or was that the second or third? First. He mentions the following by the two men and that?
Yes. According to the report, yes.
That's super weird. You know why, right? Because
Why?
if you're waiting out there and you're fishing, think like the cause and effect of what's happening. And you're walking away or preparing to leave and you see someone behind you, let's say 50 feet away first. You say, hey, what's up, or whatever.
Yeah,
or,
fuck you doing?
Or what the fuck you doing? Maybe they're not supposed to be there, or they're looking at you creepy,
Well, just
whatever.
imagine the scene for a minute, right? There
Wait,
you are, out
I'm
in
saying,
the dark,
Your
alone.
first phone call, you make that call after already going through some shit with them. You can make that call after them being 100 feet away, assuming you can see them. It's dark. I don't know. Maybe the moon is working well. The light's really awesome with the moon. Because if it's not, you can't see shit. Maybe you can hear. But what can you hear? You assume is an animal.
Maybe, good.
Right, doesn't
Leaves
mean that you
crackling
know.
or twigs breaking or
Right,
something.
but even that could be a deer. I don't know what's out there. I'm saying you don't immediately assume it's two men following you. So you got to see them, probably by moonlight. Okay, now that's down. And then, so you got to know that they're following you. They're 20 feet away when you make that first phone call. You wouldn't make that call and say men and followed by in the first phone call if you are already like on level 10 alert.
Yeah. I mean, I try to put myself in the guy's shoes. I could see myself calling Katie like, there's some shit going down right now. There's
after
dudes,
like one twig breaking?
There's dudes behind me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can see myself.
If that was you would have, it seems like you would have called way before that.
Well, I don't know if I really drove this point home during the story, but he also had, I don't want to say an attitude, but he knew he was a badass, right? He knows I'm this most winningest football star. I'm a muscle man.
That's even worse.
Right, exactly.
That's even worse.
He was that scared.
Look, you can scare big fucking guys too.
Yeah.
And, okay, let's say he is that way. And most of them are, honestly, I grew up with jocks. I hate them, whatever. But they're like that a lot. I get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of motivation, a lot of confidence. And not to mention, they're specimens of human endeavor and embodiment. But all the more reason to say that this is the first phone call. For all I know, he had 20 minutes already of having to deal with these guys. These two things, trying to do the macho card, do the, hey, what's up? Do the, hey, what the fuck? Macho card, and then, like, get a step off, bro. Whatever, I don't know what.
Come at me, bro.
Right, I don't know. He probably wasn't like that, but maybe he was. I just try to imagine the ordeal he had to have gone through different stages of social norms to, like, oh shit, paranoia, everyone's life for themselves.
To elicit that call.
And say those things. And I obviously don't know the stress level of his voice, because that's something we will never know.
Right.
Only the wife remembers, and she probably has distorted in her memory. And she's probably mad at herself for not being there by 9:30, supposed to leave at 9:30. I don't know what. But, yeah, that's so weird.
Well, if you think that one's weird.
It just seems like he was... See, this one seems different. Okay, go ahead. Next one.
No, I mean, there's a lot of different things to this case. So he was this football star, and he was a quarterback that would tell his line, let him hit me. Don't block. Let him hit me. I'm going through. That's what he did. And that's what he was known for, just plowing through people as a quarterback. Usually the quarterback's protected, right?
Yeah, because they're not the strongest people also
Right.
on the team.
So that's...
They had the good arm,
That's how he was. So he was constantly taking hits. He was hitting. Could his mind have been fucked up? I mean, you hear about boxers
Definitely.
wrestlers.
There's that movie with
football
Will
players.
Smith about that.
I mean, look at Muhammad Ali. What happened to him from being hit so many times?
Yeah.
He get punch drunk, right? Was he punch drunk? Did he have brain damage? It's certainly possible. However, all of his teammates, all of his family and friends said he never exhibited any signs of any sort of dementia or brain damage or anything. He had a concussion one time during his football career. One time, that's it. But it's possible.
But fear can induce it more, though. I mean,
It's possible. I want to say, I hope to God, I don't know if this is good, I hope he did freak out.
I don't
he
think,
had a mental condition,
I don't think so.
and his heart stopped because he was so scared.
I don't
for
think there's
nothing.
anything.
I
That
hope
whole
that's the
story
case.
just told me to say, like, he probably said to these two figures, let them come, you know. You know?
Well, so hopefully that was the case, and he just died of natural causes, or maybe he was murdered. And these people were really good and didn't leave any signs on the body, and no tracks or evidence they were ever there. Because the alternative,
I think they were just bigger than him.
The alternative
Yeah.
is fucking terrifying.
Well, I think it is the alternative. I'm not saying. I just think that story just made me think that he just probably like egged them on, made it worse or something, kind of thing. Made it worse for him between these two creatures or humanoids or whatever.
Yeah.
What I was saying before, how it's different, is not because it's different for a lot of reasons. One, the age doesn't group up with every other ages out there. The other thing is that you said the intelligence gap is not quite the same. Unless,
right. Yeah, I tried to take a smattering of...
No. He was the salesman. I mean, they're not. I'm not saying they're stupid, but they're not. Right? They're not geniuses. They're not scientists or medical doctors. You said a lot of them were like.
Well, he was in medical sales, but yeah, you don't have to be a doctor to be in medical sales.
I can look into it. No, I can't. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things don't fit quite the traits, but I understand that the wilderness idea, the state park thing, right?
Water.
Right? Yeah, water.
Face down.
Water is very huge. I believe it's part of this whole thing.
Oh, and sorry, not to cut you off, and the dogs not finding anything, right? That all those criteria.
Dog?
Yeah, the dogs went out. The cadaver dogs went out.
Oh, the cadaver. All the time, like, he had a dog with him.
So that's
What?
another trait, right?
Yes.
These dogs are let loose, and boom,
and they don't find it. I mean, he's supposed to. He was right there the whole time, and
yes,
right, exactly. No, that's probably the biggest component of all these stories is how they're found when they fucking look there.
Yes,
or how they're found in places that's impossible.
Huge component.
Definitely, that connects them for sure. But I'm thinking is that I think geography plays a bigger part to this, I think, than we've been saying.
Yeah, and speaking of geography, one thing I didn't look, and now I'm kicking myself. I have to scroll back up in my notes here. It was Michigan. You know where I'm heading with this. He did disappear in Michigan Triangle.
It's a rhombus.
Allendale, Michigan. If Allendale, Michigan is part of or near those points of the Michigan Triangle, that's the one thing I forgot to look.
This is the football guy?
This is the football guy. Yeah, disappeared in Allendale, Michigan.
Looking at a map?
No. Baldwin River. So we should try to look that up, but I want to keep going here.
No, it's okay. What I'm saying is that they're different, and I think geography plays a bigger part than we're initially assessing. I think they're different beings. Maybe they're different things, different creatures, different hunting styles.
Predator, man.
They seem predatory, but also not really.
Because
of the letting go.
I don't even want to get into this.
Of the letting go, of the memory relapse, of the no witness thing. Some of that stuff is way too specific. They have to be connected. But also, I think geography plays a bigger part as to how these people get murdered. Like some places, maybe they only get murdered in fucking Michigan, and in Oregon, sometimes they live. Or in this other state, they'll live more times than often. But they'll still be all weird disappearances. Like, I think...
Well, something you mentioned about hunting style.
Yeah.
Hunting style, and I said predator. I wasn't going to get into any of this because it's just another side road that leads to dark places and crazy places. We just didn't have time.
This is the SOS.
Well, it's the Supernatural Occurrence podcast. Some people claim that in the areas where people have gone missing, they see a figure. And this figure is predator-like. It's the only way to describe it. It's a shimmery, cellophane type figure.
Cellophane? What does that
Think
mean?
of cellophane. Think of the clear, crinkly cellophane that you wrap food in, for example.
Like saran wrap?
Yes. Yes, perfect. Saran wrap. And
So like Predator from Predator?
yes.
The invisible thing?
Yes. Yes. And you could see what's behind it. You could see the trees and the leaves behind it. But in front of those trees and leaves is this shimmery, kind of invisible, not invisible figure. Matter of fact, Randy Tucker from somewhereoutthereradio.com. He's been on this podcast before. He's a dear friend of mine. Seen this same figure in his backyard, which his backyard is the woods, where a river runs, a body of water.
Okay. Tell him to
Standing in his kitchen, he was standing in his kitchen window looking out over his beautiful backyard, and there in the tree line, he saw this exact same thing.
move. What state?
He's in Michigan.
Fuck him.
He is in Michigan.
Tell him to move.
The name, and he's listening. Going to listen to this, and he's going to be like, "You fucking idiot! I told you 1,000 times." Going even further with Randy Tucker, in his backyard, at all different times of the year. Now remember, his backyard is woods.
Yes.
His neighbors, very far away, elderly. At the forest line of his backyard, he finds balls and toys placed in piles in his backyard at the tree line. Like something is leaving these items. He'll clear his leaves, he'll cut his lawn, nothing. A couple weeks later, 2 or 3 balls. Wiffle ball. I think he said one time like a soccer ball, baseball. There's no kids.
Because there's elderly next to neighbors which are
and
far
they're far away.
Yeah.
There's no one throwing balls through those trees because I've seen pictures of his house. It's dense forest. You're not pitching a ball through those trees. You're just not. So this is another common factor in quite a few of these cases that people see in the disappearance areas. This figure.
How many of the ones you mentioned so far?
I couldn't tell you. None of these. Again, I wasn't going to get into it because it's.
First of all, fuck you.
It's going to take us so far off track because there's also something. Listeners could look up something called Project Chameleon or Project Chameleo.
Chameleo, by the way.
Where it's a government initiative to create cloaking technology for the battlefield.
Hence, the other thing is going to come up in one of the tales that you told me about before, involving soldiers. That could be a connection to that.
Yeah, look up Project Chameleo, Project Chameleon.
Okay.
Read all about it.
Or watch fucking Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's exactly right. And I only mentioned it because you said hunting style, and that reminded me, and I said, well, what the fuck? But yes.
First of all, don't you ever fucking hold back hunting? This gives me so many chills.
We could do a whole
I want to go up there, open your office window just so I can close it again.
I'm telling you, this topic gets under your skin.
I love living in a city right now.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. I never want to be out there ever again.
Maybe we'll get Randy.
My friend Alex, he invites me out to Indiana again. Nope. Too far away.
Tuck, if you're listening, maybe we'll have you on the show one day so you could tell your Chameleo ball toy offering stories because it is incredible. But yes, that is something that is seen in a lot of these disappearance areas.
By water, dense forests, elderly people.
Yeah.
You want to speculate?
Let me tell one more story.
Is it the last one?
This is.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's go ahead.
All right. So, to me, his name was Dennis Martin, and this has to be the worst one, and then I'll end with this story. Now, Dennis Martin was just 6 years old at the time of his disappearance in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park near the Appalachian Trail in 1969. The Martin family, consisting of 6-year-old Dennis, his father, his grandfather, and his older brother, ventured out to a remote location in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park called Spence Field on Father's Day, 1969, to kind of play for the day after hiking and camping the night before. It was kind of a tradition for the male Martins. During their stay at Spence Field, another family appeared, also with the last name Martin. What are the chances of that? This is true. And asked if their kids could play with the original Martins.
Okay.
All agreed, shook hands, became friends, and started to play a game of hide and seek. Now, Mr. Martin, the original Mr. Martin, watched his son Dennis walk behind a bush on the edge of the wilderness, in other words, at the edge of Spence Field. Dennis Martin never reappeared from behind the bush. Mr. Martin, Dennis's father, the original Mr. Martin, a physically fit man, ran across the field to the bush, eyes on it the entire time, figuring his son would step out from the other side and he'd catch him in the game of hide and seek. When he got to the bush, he found that his son was gone. It had been less than 5 minutes since Dennis stepped behind the bush. Mr. Martin, the father, then ran 2 miles up the Appalachian Trail, frantically looking for his son. Found nothing.
Right.
A search and rescue team was assembled almost instantly. 1,400 searchers, 1,400 searchers covering 56 square miles, the largest search and rescue attempt in the park's history, was assembled, but no trace of Dennis Martin was ever found. And here's where it gets even worse. Around the same time the disappearance happened, another family, the Key family, were out looking for bears on the Appalachian Trail, very near where Dennis disappeared. As the Keys were walking, searching for bears to observe, what was described as, quote, an earth-shattering scream, end quote, was heard by the Key family, coming from a hill directly in front of them up the trail a bit. When the Keys looked up, there, up on the hill, dodging between trees as if trying to avoid detection, the Key family saw a man, what one of the Key children described as a bear man. It was large and hairy-looking, standing on 2 legs and again looking like it was trying to avoid being seen by the Keys. What's worse, the bear man was carrying something fairly large over its shoulder. Was it the body of little Dennis Martin? Was Dennis the source of the earth-shattering scream? What the hell was the bear man? Now, interestingly, years before the disappearance of Dennis Martin, a park ranger in approximately the same area was attacked and nearly killed by what he called a wild man. People who are said to live in the national forests, who eat animals, wear furs, live off the land, off the grid, and have no ethics.
Mm-hmm.
The National Park Service doesn't like to admit that these people exist on their lands. And here's something else interesting about the case. Remember, I said a huge search party was assembled, the biggest in the park's history.
Even to this day?
Even to this day. For some reason, the Green Berets showed up. Our military's finest showed up to join the search, even though it said absolutely no one called them for assistance, and no one from the Park Service ever gave the Green Berets permission to land their helicopters in the national park. The Green Berets set up their own camp, far away from where everyone else was set up for the search. So why did the Green Berets show up? Was it because something was actually spotted this time? This bear man?
Too many descriptors hit the mark kind of thing?
Is this something overall that the military is aware of? Is this something they're tasked with keeping in check, or at the very least, out of the public's eye? We'll probably never know for sure what's going on in our national parks, but one thing is absolutely certain. Whatever is happening is effective 100% of the time. There are no instances, 0 reports of near misses or failed abductions or attempted murders or attempted kidnappings. There are strange deaths, and there are strange disappearances. Whatever takes people takes them 100% of the time, and its tactics are perfect and untraceable.
And that is the real connection between. I know that was your exit, by the way.
That was my exit.
But you should have waited because I'm still talking.
No, we can still talk.
Okay,
we
good.
Still talk.
No, I mean, it would have been awesome
Absolutely.
as an ending for the. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, too late, not ending.
But it's true, man. Whatever's doing it is 100% effective.
It's eerily effective. From you gave me, you mentioned a brief example in the last episode that there was one from the 1800s. So they've been effective for a long time. And I don't think it's us. I think it's us. We know things that we're not letting the public know. You know, us meaning the country, government. I'm sure there are some, and I love the idea that the Green Berets were there, like in case shit went down, like or whatever.
Yeah.
They're probably a standby. Okay, if this happens, if these two other things happen, or these alarms go off, or whatever, you guys go and try to take this thing out. Whatever they have to say, or maybe they were there to like take out these people that might catch this thing inside before they become witnesses and shit. It could be one or the other.
Yeah.
And I'm not devaluing that we would kill American lives or nothing, you know. But we've done that too. So, can't really say not to either.
Good point.
Another thing is that I like the idea that these Green Berets were there because there's got to be a record of their being there. They're being sent out there.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a long time for us to get Wormwood out, which is the whole MK Ultra. Maybe we'll get this one too someday. I don't know, but they make the records. All the orders are given out and transcribed, and right
Somewhere, someone's doing it.
But
Someone's dispatching.
Someone's always doing it.
Somehow, in this particular case, if it's true that no one contacted, they found out.
Yeah, they found out, which means they're. This is back then, so it was radio, right? That's probably the only way they found
Yeah,
out.
69. Oh,
Radio,
yeah. Absolutely.
phone,
Yes.
telegram.
Absolutely.
Top three things they can. That's it. You can't. There's no other way to find out unless you have a man on the inside.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That we know.
Or someone
of.
called and no one said that they would call them. Like, hey, you guys said to call this number when we hear about a bear ban. I don't know what that's about. And then, yeah, send us
It's like, oh, we know.
right. Oh, we got it. Be right over. I'll be like, oh, sorry, wrong number. And they come over anyway. You never know, right? Okay. That's super. How is that one the worst for you think? Because the scream?
The scream, and something was seen. Something was seen with that thing over its shoulder, probably the kid.
Which feels like a battle cry.
There was a chance. Oh, a cry of victory or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
or no,
God.
or like
You know,
kind of
or
reminds
imagine
me-
being the Keys. You know, I put myself in the Keys family situation. You know, there they are. They're seeing an abduction as it's happening. This mystery unfolding in front of their eyes, and maybe they could have done something. Maybe they could have ran it,
fuck
and
they could've-
and the thing would have dropped whatever was on its shoulder. If it was the kid, they could have saved the. That for me, I don't know. It just this story gets me, man.
Well, it's like
This story fucks me up.
I mean, if you grab a person from the early 1800s, now that I have that number in my head, and you like immediately blink of an eye transport him to this room, I don't think they would believe in front of their eyes what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so unbelievable, so unbelievably out of your reality that to that person that pops in here from 200 years ago, they might die of shock over the things they would see in this room alone, which
That's
is
true.
your kids' toys, the paneling, the electricity, the fucking laptops, bro. Me, Mexican, with an Italian, with a white girl. Very weird. I'm just, the TV.
Oh yeah, TV.
Dude, it's fucked up. This is magic to them. They don't know what's going on.
So what are you saying? The Keys were just
I
dumbfounded.
don't blame them. Is my point.
No, I don't blame them, but
Yeah.
you know, just imagine being them.
I mean, I would wish to be the person to be open enough to understand it immediately and react accordingly, and whether or not to run away or help. But I honestly don't know. I've never been in that situation. I feel like I've been close a few times because tingly spider senses, or that could just be me
Yeah.
being scared. I don't really know that. But I think that it's a scream.
Do you think it was the kid screaming, or do you think it was, like I said, the victory cry of whatever the bear man was?
I mean, I don't know. It seems the scream is. I mean, maybe the echoes made it seem like the kid scream was actually way worse than just. But I mean, they never make noises before.
Right.
This is the closest thing to them being caught in the act. Arguably, this
Yeah,
is almost
agreed.
a fumble of.
Agreed.
But also, this is the only case that you've told me. I don't know how many others you've read of. Where are they again?
What this
Smoky Mountains.
Great Smoky Mountains? Yes.
Maybe the way they hunt here is different from where they hunt in the other places. And this, this is a big bear man that carries them on a satchel. You know, like the hunting style could be
Carry 'em.
different here, where it could be often seen easier, or whatever. That could be a possibility. And,
Carrying them where? For what reason? You know,
I mean, I assume he never came back. No evidence of anything. No
Never
neatly
found.
piled clothes or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, the kid was probably eaten or
Used
taken.
an experiment.
His bones are somewhere in the
given
cave.
to
What?
given
Use your mic.
to given to another being. I don't know.
That was dark.
That was dark.
Yeah, what you said.
There's other stories.
I see a lot of dark things here.
There's
know.
other stories where kids they're found,
Mhm.
thankfully, but during the ordeal, they said that they were kept by a wolf or a bear, and that the wolf or the bear wouldn't let them leave the cave, and that one I remember specifically was the wolf fed the little girl berries from its hands. Fed her berries from its hands. Not its paws. Not like that, from its hands.
I mean, it could
The
be
wolf-
a Yeti, Sasquatch type thing, carrying using the wolf fur as heating, right? And it looks like,
or
big
another
wolf.
bear man. That it's actually a person. One of these wild men that live in the woods. Kept the girl hostage for a while. Wouldn't let her leave. Fed her
Look,
berries from
Just
his
liked
hand.
her because she was pretty. Like, oh, look, your pretty thing.
Or look what I could do, sort of thing. I don't know. A snub,
then let him
a
go
snub to
eventually?
humanity. Look what I could do. I could take your kid, and I'll give
Assuming-
it back when I want.
Right.
But no traces of these things ever found.
Is it like a bunch of Lennies from Mice and Men? Sometimes they break their little necks, and other times they don't, and let them go.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know.
That's a different level. I didn't think of it that way.
I wish I had. I wish I had answers to this, man. I really do.
Well, let's go back a little bit about the thing you almost hid from me.
the chameleon. The
Yeah, I don't think
the
it's.
figures.
I don't think it's a. I mean, how many?
Could it be alien though?
Right, I'm thinking it's more that way because of the amount of disappearances from X amount way back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think. I think the only way our governments, the things we pay for, right, the billions of dollars that goes into whatever the fuck they do. I think all of that. I think whatever there is that they know that we don't know is just something that they stumbled upon because they're the country that happens to be living on this land at this time. I think that's kind of coincidence.
What do you mean?
For example, like the only reason the government be hiding information from us is because, they have probably more detailed information in all these cases, but they don't want to disclose it because they themselves don't know. I mean, when the country was created, they probably started finding these cases immediately. Like, what are they going to do but hide it? They'll probably be sweeping under the rug this whole time because what else are they going to do? They don't know. They probably don't explain it either. They just know a little more information maybe. And that's probably why they have Green Berets on standby in case they can find something to attack or something. For all I know, they know less than we do.
Yeah.
Or as much as we do. So I don't want to focus on that too much. We also have a lot of governmental conspiracies in the works and a lot of other things. I do think it's alien in some form. It's alien or like dimension hopping.
It could be. Yeah, I'm with you on the alien thing because of the disappearances. First of all, the split-second disappearances.
It's too strange.
The distances traveled and the impossible locations these things are, bodies, clothes, people are found. But then I also, and this shimmery figure that's been seen in some of these cases. But then I'm also thinking, like, I'm also going back to the hills have eyes sort of scenario where it's generation after generation, as far back as we could imagine, of people who live either underground in these national forests, or they live in the trees, or they just great at hiding. I don't know.
Let me indulge that for a minute. Okay, if there is a group of people beyond Native Americans, right, like older than that, right, and that does say that they're the oldest probably, if they've survived this long, they would have to be pretty goddamn fast, pretty much evolved to its surroundings,
right?
Literally to its surroundings. They probably have amazing camouflage. Probably have underground things because it's a natural forest. We don't touch fucking natural forest.
Right. Can't get there.
Again, unless you believe, government has missile silos. I don't care what they believe. Okay, I'm saying they don't touch them.
Right. They're
so
protected.
These things, if they survive this long, I'm at 90% there and saying I can see that.
Then why would I wonder why?
But the
we would,
10% is an impossibility of just
Yes.
fucking time plus gravity equals you can't fucking get up that cliff in time, bitch. Like, it's just not gonna. I just don't see that.
I know.
And that's why I think it has something to do with this old untouched land. I don't know how.
It's great. No, I love it.
I just don't know how, but it's just like the markers, the land, the fucking water, and the fact that these cases in different places, the Michigans, the fucking Oregons, a lot of Oregons.
Yeah, Washington, California, Colorado, Illinois.
I think if space has anything to do with this whole ordeal, it means that different areas provide different ways of killing or making these victims reappear again. Because oftentimes they just disappear forever.
Right.
And for all I know, they'll still appear tomorrow. Because some of them, what's the longest gap is 4 years? Or was there a longer gap than what you read?
Well, the first case I read, Jared, what was his last name? Jared Atadero. Mm-hmm. His clothes and partial remains were found 4 years. 4 years later.
Is that the farthest you read?
Yeah, I would say yes.
I
would say yes.
Seems like
because the other one's like 15 months. The guy who disappeared in Michigan,
or like a season later,
Massachusetts,
things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like both distance and time doesn't matter in these things. It seems like they're pretty arbitrary, which means it's up to the eye of whatever dimensional gate that's open at the time, beholder, or the eye of the beholder of the however long it takes for us to eat this soul alive as opposed to the body, or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Right.
Like, I think it's arbitrary, and I think I don't think time matters. I mean, after all this time, all these disappearances, I mean, they must take the equivalent of a day to do what they want to do, but maybe they just don't bring it out till whenever. And I don't know if it seems like a creature would do it, like a creature trying to learn human ways, the way you see them dressed, the way you see the clothing, the toys by fucking Randy Tucker's backyard. That seems strange. That seems like a man-child learning something, trying to figure something out. But creature, okay. But the other stuff is too intelligent.
How do these humans work?
The other stuff is too intelligent, though. And then the paranormal stuff, which is how you can manipulate time and gravity to get something in somewhere in an impossible amount of time. It just seems like three different forces are fighting each other, or in cahoots.
Or in cahoots, right. Remember we were talking about the time travel in men, was it Einstein's relativity theory? Basically, if you could control gravity, you could control time, right? Something else I kind of thought about, one of the common traits for disappearance areas was the abundance of rock, specifically granite, right?
Granite, you said that, yeah.
Do you remember back in the episodes when we interviewed Jason Yancey with his glacial erratic?
Nope, don't remember.
The piezoelectric electricity. The piezoelectricity, when two rocks are pushing down onto one another,
yes,
they create a form of energy.
Yes.
I'm wondering if something like that has something to do with some of these disappearances. Just so much intense energy being created by this granite.
Maybe it's making
granite piles. It's
making a phenomenon look intelligent when it isn't.
Possibly.
Also, here's another one I just thought of, like whatever higher intelligence. Let's just say aliens for now, or a cult, or people out of different time. These aliens are taking advantage of these granite-inducing phenomena, time-warping space things, and they're releasing their creatures for that space of time onto these woods, and they take whatever fucking... So that way you have all three factors in cahoots at the same time. They're using these experimental creatures to hunt us to see how we better work, and they put everything back when the phenomenon of the granite rock thing, natural phenomenon, whatever, is happening. That way it can include both the master plan element, the intelligence behind all this. It can include the paranormal, unexplained stuff that's happening, and the creature stuff, the creature weirdness, the
bear man.
The bear man, right.
Or these two men who were following the football player. Were they men at all, right?
Right. Because that seems very extra different. Yeah. That guy seems like it was a one-off. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it happens all the time.
But there were still common traits with the water and the face down. And
but the person. I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, God. We could go on and speculate and theorize.
Also, maybe the fact that he was a football player, and I don't care how many concussions he's had. I know he's had one in his career. But I'm saying I don't know how much he has to exhibit. His brain chemistry must be different from all those hits. Maybe they thought he was autistic and took him. because a lot of these kids are autistic, and they take certain brainwave patterns that are different from a normal Joe. That they thought this football player had something when he didn't, and they killed him and left him there. Look up, wrong guy.
Again, you just keep giving me the shivers and chills tonight, man.
I just want to make sure I say enough possibilities, because I don't want to think of something later and I should have said that.
Well, I would love to know what the listeners think. Again, give us a call, 872-529-0767, 872-529-0767.
Remember, we're in Missouri.
We're in Chicago. Leave us a message, and if we like your theory, we'll play it at the top of the show. What do you think? Were you happy with this topic?
I was happy that I got the shivers. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's really fun. I really hate that you made me wait 2 weeks for this part, but it was worth the wait, I guess.
Well, listeners, when we do stuff like that again, they could always jump on Patreon and join, and they'll get episodes earlier than 2 weeks when we do chained episodes like this.
Oh, okay. I'm like, that's very specific. I'm like, I'm not going to edit no show one week. Anyway, I'm just going to go there. But yeah, yes, of course. Check that out. That'd be awesome.
Any final thoughts?
No. Anything, Lexi?
Nope.
She can fucking hear us. She'll go.
She's involved in Sims.
Yeah.
She's ass deep in Sims.
My hack worked.
Is your mic on?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, your hack worked.
My hack worked.
Well, on a lighter note, let's come out of that deep, dark, abysmal pit of disappearances.
And let's talk about pirating.
Pirating and hacking the Sims.
And eating cookies.
Lexi,
I downloaded all the expansion packs for free. And normally they're like $20 each.
The listeners don't care. I can tell you that right now.
That's fine. I still care, and I like to share.
All right, Oscar, take us home.
Oscar, do it.
Squirrel.
I don't remember that. I remember the vibrator.
That speech is so... I don't know. I mean, he's a complex guy. You definitely don't want to be his friend or anything. But
so, I like Don Draper at work. I don't like Don Draper at home.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, but they're both the same person.
Yeah.
Do you see any similarities with you? Because you are, you work a lot out.
No.
I know you don't travel like him, or he doesn't travel like you or anything. But
we can't smoke, we can't drink, and we can't slap girls' asses at the office. So no similarities.
What do you think of Peggy?
Peggy, the secretary of the redhead.
I think that's her
name. Is that
Peggy.
The redhead?
I think it's Peggy.
Or is that the main?
The main girl. The main girl.
Oh, I mean, so far I like her.
Okay.
So far, I like her. She's trying to survive in this shark infested.
But she's in the job already by now, right? To work as
they started her writing
copy.
Yeah, writing copy. Right. She tested
with
the vibrator
with Sal.
Sal's great.
Sal's good. You like Sal?
I love Sal. I don't know if he's gay. He's got to be gay.
Oh, you don't know that yet? Okay, he's.
I mean, I've seen, but then he comments about women too. So I don't know.
No, that's just to mask.
Okay.
So nobody, because back then it's much more taboo.
Oh, good point. So. Yeah, I like Sal. He's a fratello. He's a brother. An Italian brother.
That's what you like.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's a very charming guy. I like how he just dismisses all the girls, like, like with a single fashion tip or something like that. Like, oh, Sal, you're so gay.
So Sal.
Sal. Oh, Sal.
You.
Have you seen The Shape of Water?
Oh, it's such a good movie.
Was it good?
So good.
The reason I bring it up
is
because
really long.
It's too. You're watching all these shows that are like hours at a time.
Yeah, I know, right? I binged Cobra Kai in a single night. In one night, dude.
In one night, wow.
One night.
Okay, wow.
But they're like half-hour episodes.
Yeah, but still, that's more than The Shape of Water.
So it's good? I should watch it?
It's really good. But
I could watch it I could watch it on Terrarium.
I mean, I have a Blu-ray, but obviously I don't have it on me. So, no, the reason I mention it is because one of the characters there, the gay character who does ad copy, funny enough, is that he was basically, when the movie starts, obviously he's already gay the whole time, the whole time, but he was found out, I guess, at his work, and he was fired, and he's trying to go back in by doing independent work, even though he used to work for an ad company and do all the copy. Because he's an artist. And he was trying to, find a way back. It kind of reminds me of Sal.
Oh, okay.
I think Wish is trying to send me a sign. Every time I'm looking up like summer shirts and all these different shirts, like down every row is Mom's Life. Love being a mom.
Oh.
I've seen like 5.
Oh.
Why are you guys hurting me again? By the way, we started taking a test.
I've never looked up anything involving anything like that. Like any mom shirts, any Mother's Day, anything.
We're going to talk about that. Because it's that creepy phones snooping on you.
Yeah, the AI is always listening.
The AI, yes.
They're like, here.
You're making me feel
in
bad
case
for not
you're
looking
pregnant,
this up
here you
last
go.
time.
Should we start?
No, because I always
worried.
get ads and weird stuff from stuff I'm just talking about. I don't look it up.
I know, dude. It's crazy.
It's creepy. Like, I was just talking about Penny Dreadful one time, and then all these ads came up.
Wow.
On Facebook. Facebook's spying on me, man. Soon I'm going to be getting spyware ads on Facebook for talking about spying so much.
We should mention something right now that's totally off the wall that we would never research.
Clown noses.
Clown noses.
Clown noses.
What do you guys think about clown noses?
I hate
think-
them.
I hate them. I
they're
think they should be
pretty
more
cool.
orange than red.
I don't know. I'm thinking
Now
of
we
investing in a clown nose.
They should be more like
But
his
they're so
Mike condom.
expensive. I wonder if there's any good
So many
sales on
different
clown noses.
clown nose dispensaries.
Or clown shoes.
Clown noses and shoes. Now we wait and see if it comes up in our searches, like on Facebook or
I'll send a screenshot of it.
I think we're tipping our hand a little too much.
until it happens. Then you'll see. All right.
Swear to God, look at this.
I think I want to see fan fiction of Hulk fucking a unicorn.
That's probably never been
That will
searched.
probably be somewhere on your porn browser.
I really hope not. 2 things I don't want to see ever when I have my
Unicorns
pants down.
or Hulk.
Not when I have my pants.
Wait, I like unicorns.
Should we go?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's getting late. All right.
5, 4,
babe,
3.
babe.
What? Sorry, can't I have to walk my unicorn? What a stupid shirt. Stupid life.
But you just said unicorn, and that's the second shirt I saw.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2. And let's hope Lexi's not pregnant.
How do you come back from that?
I almost said 1, but I started laughing myself. 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's hope I'm not a daddy.